And I also, my camera is at the bottom of my computer. I think I've said this before, but it makes it so I'm just constantly looking up. Sorry. We all have our issues. Okay, Clay, I'm ready. Is everybody else ready? Do we have a quorum? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. So it is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. I'm calling to order the Needham Conservation Commission. And before we start, I have a script I have to read. So first, we are confirming member access. As a preliminary matter, this is Janet Carter Bernardo, Conservation Commission Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Who do we see? Steve? You're on mute.
I'm here, thank you.
Sue?
Yeah.
Peter?
Here.
Allison?
Here.
Bill?
Here.
Janet here. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Clay?
Here.
Here. Oh, sorry. I'm
Deb,
here too.
You're here too, and we can see you. So you're extra excited.
I am.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda. Wait, I had a list, which, hold on, the list. Kyle McDonald.
Hello.
Robert Ouellette.
Yes, present.
Ryan Ball.
Hello.
Mark Cooperman.
Good evening.
So, I think, did I get everybody that we were anticipating? Yes. Oops, I lost my script. Okay. Good evening. This open meeting of the Town of Needham Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Needham Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. The general public is allowed and encouraged to ask questions during the meeting when directed by the commission chair and through use of the raise hand feature associated with the Zoom meeting app. Those that have questions or comments regarding a particular hearing will be called upon in the order they raise their hand, so please be patient. Meeting materials. All supporting materials have been provided to members of this body and are available on the Conservation Commission website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each hearing on the agenda. I will introduce the applicant and/or their consultant to begin their project presentation. After they conclude their presentation, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment or question. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you, and please state your name before speaking. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. All right, everybody can hear that? And can you hear me fine now that I've gone through all of that? Now we need the agenda up. That is, so Deb, should we, I think I like to kind of get rid of some of the easy ones first. So maybe let's do the 124 South Street. Is that okay? Mark Cooperman is here, so.
Sure, that's fine.
So 124 South Street, DP file number 234774, request for a certificate of compliance. I believe that Mark Cooperman may be in the audience to present your request. Mark, please feel free to unmute yourself. I feel like I've lost him.
Can you hear me, Janet?
Oh, well, there you are.
Yeah, thank you. Good,
Okay,
good evening. Good evening, Janet. Good evening, everyone. So we have submitted our request for certificate of compliance for 124 South Street, project that had gone on for about a year and a half. A lot of it challenging features. First and foremost was, Deb, do we want to pull this up, or I don't know how to do that. Or are you guys good with just talking through it?
Clay, do we need to see it?
If you would like the as-built up, I can share screen with the as-built.
That would be great.
I think, yeah, I don't need a pointer or anything, Clay. I'll be able to just walk us through it. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, can you all hear me still?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so you see the existing, so the project began primarily with the construction of the sport court off to Plan Right there. The existing home, existing driveway, none of that had changed. What we did at the time of the sport court proposal, due to the any resource area impacts, was offered up a very, very expansive drainage upgrade to this site. That drainage system that lies underneath the sport court captures not only the addition of the impervious from the sport court itself, but it ended up capturing all of the drive and most of the roof ties from the home. The remaining roof ties, just for logistical reasons, are captured in the drainage system just to the left of the house there. You'll see a smaller system. So that was all done absolutely according to plan. Soil testing was done when we began excavation. In fact, we ended up actually modifying about 3 feet of depth due to our analysis of the soils that were there. We ended up finding basically some infill, presumably from the prior estate owners, you know, and years of maybe what was a local dump or something like that. So that was all removed, brought in beautiful septic sand, and there's a fairly impressive drainage system under that sport court that's working quite well.
So
That,
I
like I said,
see there's a catch basin. So there's a catch basin in the driveway that you piped over here?
yeah, so the driveway, Janet, as you can see, the grades kind of bring the water down towards the house there. And so that used to daylight right down the back hill. Okay, it went into the catch basin, and it basically daylighted in the area of the walkway to the sport court. That's all gone. There's no more daylighting. And that catch basin is tied into the sport court. Most of the roof is tied into the sport court. And the sport court itself is tied into that drainage system.
Now I'm curious on the photos, I guess on the right side of the page.
Mm-hmm. The
Like,
photo.
can you shift it? Yeah. What is happening on top of that sports court? Why is it?
That's ice in the winter.
Oh, is that?
It's the hockey rink. I should. Yeah. So thanks. So the photos that my engineer used, they were done late fall. So sorry. Late fall,
I kept
early
looking
winter,
at it
so.
thinking it's kind of a messy sports court for such a beautiful property.
Yeah. No, that's the ice rink.
Lovely.
So you can see the catch. So just to the right, just to the right of the granite staircase, the new granite staircase, is the other access port for the catch basin, and it used to daylight right outside that wall by the staircase and just rip down towards the river. everything now goes under that sport court. That hill, while we're at it, that garden on the hillside under the big oak, which was preserved right there in the first photo that you can see, the large oak. We had a tree preservation plan prepared by tree specialists that was followed throughout construction. That hillside was revegetated with primarily native perennials and stabilizing ground covers, and then also covered with a forest floor mulch. Same thing, just adjacent to either side of the staircase it's all grown in full. Of course, it's December or whatever time of year here, so you're not seeing that.
Wasn't there like a meadow or something put in?
That's when we get out back. Yeah, that's out back. I don't know.
Closer to the river. Yeah.
Closer to the river. It's down. If you're looking at that bottom left photo, Janet, where the pool is, right there. You just went past it.
Okay.
The meadow is just to the left of that photo, and I don't think he put it in this plan. I have photos. I know. Deb, you've seen it. You've been out recently, right?
Yeah, Clay or Deb, have you?
Yeah, actually, Clay was out there today.
Okay, that was Clay. Yeah, Kathy mentioned that the commission had been out. So that upland.
He has photos to share.
Sure.
Sorry.
Great. The upland meadow is, according to my own inspections and from what I'm hearing, the upland meadow has been successfully established, maintained. Thank you, Clay. Perfect. Maintained as non-lawn area and as an upland meadow. Clients are quite pleased with it. They're actually considering expanding it. It's a good solution for that hillside. There's a good one maybe right there. Perfect. Okay. So that's where we took up approximately, I think it was about 3,300, 3,500 square feet of existing lawn. And as part of general sort of mitigation towards the project, eliminated that lawn area, provided that meadow in addition to the grouping of high bush blueberry that you see down below. I think the proposed mitigation had called for 8. We actually have 14 or 15 out there, which are all doing well. I understand there might be some deer browse, but they've been surviving just fine, as is the meadow.
Clay, you have anything to add?
Yeah, so going out there, in this photo, you can see the wetland area that was allowed to reestablish below. Here's the retaining wall, and just beyond this, the short grass meadow is kind of just below the retaining wall. And then the area that was restored where the plantings went in was right along in here, leading to the area footpath they were allowed to maintain in perpetuity. I did go out and I saw the 14 plantings that they had established. I did see some deer browse. A number of them looked pretty good, though chewed back a little bit, at least in the green a bit. But the one thing I'm not sure that we received was the monitoring reports for the 2 years to monitor those blueberries.
Yeah, I thought we had submitted via email, just letter reports, no?
Hi, I didn't see them, but they may have been put into an electronic file at some point. So you do think that you gave us the reports?
I think they were very simple, straightforward email letter reports, and then certainly the final report I think would have described the success of the or not of the planting.
So the gave to us prior to the COC.
Right. Because I think there was a final report requirement. If I look back at the OOC, so
Yes.
Right. So I guess my understanding is that the progress were submitted because it's been, I guess there might have been 1 to 2 depending on timing. And in fact, I think because our permit had expired, we decided to just request the COC with the extra fee.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So we'll look in the electronic file to see if the monitoring reports are in there. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, any commission members have any comments? I need to figure out how I can make you guys all big again.
Here we go.
Oops, nope, now I just have Deb really big. Okay, oh, that's better. Okay, so commission members, any comments? Steve, any comment, question?
No.
Peter?
No.
Sue?
I do have a comment, pending that those reports are in the electronic file. As that is a requirement.
Right. Mark's pretty good. I think that if he feels he sent them, he most likely has.
Okay,
And they were probably passed on to Elisa to put into the electronic file. So
Okay,
I'll
I'm good.
follow up if I don't have them, but I think we're probably good.
Allison, any comment?
Just that it's a nice project.
Bill, you have any comment?
I don't.
Anybody in the audience? I think I got all commission members. So we are looking for a motion to issue the certificate of compliance. It's a full certificate, is that correct? Not partial? It's full.
Yes,
They developed
full.
it.
Everything is done. Site is completely stabilized. Has been for a while.
I have a motion, nobody has any more questions, can I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance?
Move that we issue the certificate of compliance for, is it 1164?
124 South Street.
124 South Street, sorry.
Okay.
Allison seconded, okay. So all in favor, I'll go one by one. Peter? Sue?
yes,
Bill?
Aye.
Allison?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
And I, great. I think that we did it, right? That was all we had to do. We have issued the certificate of compliance. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful project.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your help.
thank you.
Thank you.
Now I gotta move everybody over again. Open up my agenda. Okay, we are at 64 Gay Street, DEP file number 234847. This is a notice of intent. Do we have somebody that is here to produce this, to present this file? Maybe Kyle McDonald? You're on mute, we can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Janet. Yeah, I can talk about this project. So do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yes, I believe you do.
I just,
Yep. At the center of your commands, there's a little green share button.
is that doing it? Can you guys see
Yep.
that?
We can see it.
All right, perfect. So my name's Kyle McDonald. I'm from Goddard Consulting. Robert Willett here is here with me as well. He's going to be the contractor for this job. We're representing Stephen Wallach, who is the property owner.
Is the property owner also here?
To my knowledge, I didn't see that he was here now.
Okay.
So from a wetland standpoint, this is a pretty straightforward job. So down here, there's just a pond. It's got a very defined bank. There's no wetland next to it whatsoever. There was a photo of that in the NOI packet that was submitted. So then here we have our 25-foot offset, and here we have our 50-foot offset. And then this is where all the work in the buffer zone's taking place. So all we're doing here is, so there's an existing, deck with a concrete, patio underneath. So they're just looking to turn that into an addition of livable space. I believe it's a sunroom on top and like a rec room down below. Then they have a little proposed patio next to that here that will be located in what is existing lawn. And then over here, they're proposing to do an addition of a garage and like a mud room and then a set of stairs just leading down into the lawn. So all of this, it currently exists as lawn. and then this brown line here is an existing fence line, and then it really starts to slope down towards the pond there. One other thing I'd like to talk about is here and here we have proposed dry wells, and what that'll do is it'll be able to capture any extra stormwater runoff that will occur from the addition of impervious area within the buffer zone. I know Clay emailed me and had a few questions or comments regarding the project. One was that he just wanted an additional $50 check because I guess your bylaw would consider each addition a separate project. So I got in contact with the property owner and he said he has a check in the mail. So you guys should expect to see that soon. And then his other concern was just the lack of topography shown on the plan. And he was aware of the steep slope and just wanted to know kind of where that is in relation to the project. So I'll pull up a couple photos here. You can see that existing fence in the background there. So all of our work is, on the developed side of the fence. You can get another view of it here. So all of our work is in this lawn here. And then you can see again that fence. So we're not doing anything on the other side of the fence. We're not touching that steep slope. We're only working in what is currently, lawn or part of the existing house. So that's all I have.
So I guess, I don't know if it's just as easy to, maybe I can side by side so I can see. I'd like to be able to see people. Now I can see people and see the screen. So does anybody in the, any of the commission members have comments? I'm going to go by one, and I'll save my comments to the end. Steve, you have any comments on this project?
Yeah, I just have one. I know you pointed out the dry wells just now. I don't see it, so maybe I missed it. Are there roof leaders that connect to these dry wells, or are you relying on overland flow?
Yeah, I'll defer to Rob on that one.
Yeah, so we have a gutter. Robert will let the builder from A. Francis Contracting. We have a gutter system will capture all the runoff, and we will be putting that gutter system directly into the dry well. So the left-hand side will be dedicated for the left-hand dry well. The right-hand side of the property will we'll put all the gutter leads directly into that dry well. We've been doing that basically just about every job that we've done in the last couple of years in Needham, capturing all the water, all the roof water runoff.
That working out pretty well for you?
It is really, really well, actually. Yep. We're accustomed of doing it in other towns, and we've kind of picked it up as a standard for additions or remodeling or new construction that we've been doing in Needham. It's been working well.
And what about the roof line? Is it go the long way or the short way?
So the main house goes the short way. So meaning it's not going to the back of the house. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, you said half the house is going to each of the dry wells.
So basically what you're seeing. So on the right-hand side, we're going to split that divide because that's a two-story colonial, and one half of the house. So we'll put, rather than just having a single gutter capture just one side of the roof in its entirety, we're going to split that, and then we'll put the water to the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So we're not just trying to get all the water in one dry well system. We kind of split the house in half.
Steve, any more?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Peter, you have any comments, questions?
No.
Allison? Bill?
Only the lack of a test hole, but the lack of contours. If the contours were on there, you'd be able to see the elevation difference. I probably would think there wouldn't be a water table issue. Maybe more of an issue like we learned in the last plan, that there could be fill or something out there that was unexpected. So I don't know if we can't remember if we typically do test holes on on something, a project this size. I know for bigger projects we do, but
Well, we
maybe,
like them. If they can, I
Maybe
think, in my mind, if they're really close to the wetland, then we should have a test bit done. If it's obviously a different an elevation for groundwater point of view, they could probably do it at the time of construction. But
If it's helpful, I did take some photos of this site as well today, and some of the photos are from below at the bottom elevation. You can see how much change in elevation there is between the bank of the pond and the backyard. If I could pull those up, I could.
okay, well, hold on before you pull them up because I think we do want to see them. Sue, do you have any questions at this stage?
I think it looks good. Was there an issue though with the steeper slope in the placement of the erosion controls
Well,
or not?
yeah, well, I think that you have a good point there. Personally, I'm pretty concerned about the steepness of the slope. I've walked by this house a couple of times, and maybe Clay, you can bring up the photos. But basically, after that fence, this is a very steep slope, and I would be concerned that where the dry wells are proposed, it's going to be difficult to put them in because you're so close to the steep slope. So I don't think the dry wells are maybe in the best location because you're going to have an excavator out there digging, and it's a really steep slope. So I mean, Bob, or maybe you have some comment about how easy it is to install something when, I assume you've been out there?
Sure, we certainly have. Around 13 years ago, I did the property to the left-hand side for Susan and Clark Jarvis to the left of this property. And we did something very, very similar there. It was a whole house restoration when we did that project around 13 years ago. And we did place dry wells back there. The one on the left-hand side, I'm not sure why they have it so close to the, the protection buffer there, but I mean, I would probably pull that a little bit forward, maybe another 5 or 6 feet, similar to the dry well on the right-hand side. That location is in a very good location in terms of being have access to it. I mean, we could pull those a little bit forward, just to give.
Yeah, I would typically want it to be a little further. Definitely further from the slope, but I mean, I suppose it's down gradient from the house, so maybe that part's not a concern. When I was out there, there's a pretty large tree stump in the front of the property. I don't know if you have any intentions as a proposed covered porch. I see, granted it's outside of our jurisdiction, I get that, but it seemed like you could pull that big stump out and put a dry well right where it is.
Yeah, so I think there is a, if you're looking where that staging area is to the left-hand side.
Yep.
Right after that, there is a buried propane tank. So that might have been the stump that you might have seen. So it's actually painted green, and it looks just like a stump. That's the reason why I'm saying.
Propane tank?
Yeah, so you can see it. Yeah, so it's actually a underground propane tank with the cover is painted green. It's barely sticking out. So it looks just like a stump.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought it was the funniest looking thing out there. I'm like, why do they leave this big stump in the middle?
Yes, yeah.
So that's staying.
Yeah, that's staying. Yeah, correct. Yeah. That's providing the propane for the existing heating system right now.
Now, the other thing I noticed because I do walk around this neighborhood, that the house being constructed across the street a little further uphill, and there was a lot of ledge. They just did the foundation, and it was like they chipped away a lot of ledge. So are you have any expectation of hitting ledge here? And
No,
is there going to be a foundation being dug here also, or just the test pits being dug?
there is going to be a foundation, but it's just a 4-foot frost wall. So, because it's completely, it's a walkout in the back. So we're not really going deep there. And I do remember Susan's job really well. And we didn't hit ledge there at all. So that actually we hit fairly good sandy till soils. We don't anticipate seeing it. I'm not seeing any outcropping or indication that we may have a problem with ledge there at all. And seeing that we're only putting in a 4-foot frost wall to hold our addition, we're not really going that deep.
Clay, can you pull up the photos that you have?
Okay.
It'll be like a slab on grade.
So there's the back area. You can see it kind of almost levels out for a brief period. That would be where the other dry well, that kind of corner on the left-hand side.
Yeah, that looked awful tight. Is there steps that go down to the pond?
Yeah, there's a little series. So if you look that's the backyard, there's a little opening in the gate. And a very old set of stairs that go down.
So they've never used that set of stairs. It's interesting.
It was definitely covered in tree limb debris and other like moss and such.
Do you use those stairs when you were there?
I did. They were they were a little slick.
I used him to get down there for the delineation. It was a little sketchy.
So I guess we do require you to have the contours on the plan, and I think because you have this steep slope, I would be comfortable if it was contours from the road to like the top of the bank. Doesn't need to go all the way, not the top of the bank, the pond, but the top of the slope. So it's understood that what I'm hearing is you're not changing the grades, but we would like to see that from existing and proposed. So we know when it's constructed that you didn't change the grades, if that's your intention. Does anybody have any opinion or comment about that? I'm trying to pull up my.
I know it's required in our bylaw that contours be on the plan.
I will reach out to the surveyor and see if he can just put some topo lines on the plan for us, and then we can submit a plan showing that to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. So that's what I'm hearing is you are, so I did check, and now I'm trying to see my notes on this. The calculations seemed fine. I'm gonna have some notes I scribbled on here. And no trees are being removed, is that true?
There is a small tree in the front currently right now that we're taking. It's a tiny one, and it sits.
It might be outside of our jurisdiction if it's outside the 100-foot.
Yes, it's well in front of the house. It's actually sitting right where the driveway is going.
Oh, you're changing the driveway because you're putting in a garage.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. We're adding one more bay. Yeah.
So you're increasing your impervious area within the buffer zone, but you're adding dry wells to capture the runoff, which I did do that calculation and agreed with the calculations provided. So I guess my biggest concern was that the dry well was too close to the steep slope. So if you can provide the contours and show a more realistic location for the dry wells so that they can be constructed without losing equipment down the steep slope. And if possible, and maybe this can just be from an aerial, like the neighboring house, that's the Thomas Clark house.
Yes, yep.
I'm curious where it sits next to this. It's nice to see the other one in dashed over here, which I assume is the neighboring house that's in dashed lines. It'd be just because if the dry well is above that house, then I'd want to make sure you had like 10 feet from the property line. But if it's lower than the house, like the right-hand side, then I'm personally not concerned about it.
So if we were to move the dry well, the one on the left, which is sitting close to that corner, forward, and bring that roughly, 5-6 feet from that corner position, that'd be satisfactory.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know if Steve and Bill, they also have some construction thoughts, maybe how realistic it is to dig a hole.
I agree with you, Janet, that I would think that, if you have a dry well, and this is like a leaching basin. So, I mean, when this gets full of water and starts, permeating to the soils, if it's within a foot or so of that slope, it's going to wash out the slope. I mean, the soil weight is just going to blow it out. So I think you're correct. That
So if it's 5 feet away, do you think that's enough? Like, I'm not sure where the slope starts because they didn't give us the grades, but I think it's right on the other side of that fence.
I think you'd want to be 5 feet from the edge of the crushed stone. I think I'm assuming that the leaching basin is being surrounded by crushed stone. Is that correct?
Correct. It is. Yeah.
So I would want the edge of the crushed stone to be 4 or 5 feet from the embankment.
The top of the slope.
Yes.
So if we were looking, let's say, look at the addition to the left, the sunroom. If I bring it more toward the center of that, or coming very close in terms of the location of that. I'm looking at the plans right here. Unfortunately, I can't put it up on the
Yeah,
screen.
that's okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that would be, I forget what the gentleman's here. Yeah, Stephen. So Stephen, if we were to bring that, so the actual crushed stone would be opposite of that dry well. So meaning from 5 feet. So actually, in reality, it's probably closer to like eight feet or so on that dry well coming up.
Is the
The
proposed
center.
sunroom have anything underneath it?
It just has a slab, a traditional
Just a
slab.
slab.
Yeah.
So it can be close to that. The dry well can be close to the edge of that. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't want to put it right on the edge, but I meant.
Right. But it can be closer than.
Yeah,
not-
it doesn't have. Yeah, we're not protecting any, cellar or something of that nature.
Yeah. So I think that would contours and relocating those dry wells. I would be satisfied.
Yeah.
Is anybody else? And anybody in the audience have anything to say? Is there anybody raising their hand and anybody else that I don't even see? So we can continue this for 2 weeks. Is that the next hearing?
I believe we have 3 weeks between this one and the next. July is a five Thursday month.
So when's the next one? August?
13th.
I think I put it on your annotated agenda when to continue it to.
Oh. Well, I have to pull up a whole nother thing. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So, is that works for everybody? So you would have to have, if we continue this till August 13th, you would have until 1 week prior to that to submit the revised plan. And so that's August, whatever, 5th or something. Can't do the math.
We could probably get this to you immediately. Yeah.
With contours and
Yes, yeah.
and we would have the test bit done at construction because we think you're far enough away from groundwater that that shouldn't be a problem.
Sure.
And anything else? All right, so I need a motion to continue this until August 13th at 7:30. Or it's not really a time, but it's, the meeting starts at 7:30. So who wants to?
I move that we continue the notice of intent for 64 Gay Street to August 4th?
13th.
13th.
Can I have a second?
I second.
Two. All right, all in favor. Peter,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay, so we will continue this until August 13th. We'll see you then.
Okay, thank you.
Or I don't even know if they have to come, but they can if they like. All right, thank you very much for your help. I almost closed out of the whole thing. All right, so next on our agenda, other business, we have enforcement and violation updates for 1169 South Street. And the owner, Ryan Ball, has been invited to attend. You are in the audience?
Here.
Ryan Ball. Okay, so who wants to talk about this?
I'll talk. So we were notified that there was some tree removal going on the property from a neighbor who had done a project and knew there was a wetland located between the two properties. So I was contacted and they said that they were actively removing trees and pulling up their plan. I did note that it was most likely within our jurisdiction. So I got that call on Friday and I was due to come to Needham on Tuesday. And the neighbor contacted me and mentioned that they had removed some of the trees, I guess, over the weekend and possibly on Monday. So I went out on Tuesday and spoke with, I believe, Mr. Ball's wife and explained that there was a wetland and there were many trees marked. I assumed they were marked for removal. And there was also some ground disturbance in a higher area adjacent to the house. We have pictures that we can show you. So I mentioned to the wife that I needed to talk to them about the issue. She was busy on a conference call. I left my number and shortly thereafter her husband, Mr. Ball, gave me a call and I explained that there was wetlands jurisdiction and that I didn't know if they had removed any trees yet, but I saw many trees marked. And he mentioned that they were considering removing trees and they had marked them while they were determining if that's something that they were going to be able to do, and that they were just kind of smoothing the grade along that area. I guess they found it to be too steep. So I explained that all of that would need a permit, and I invited him to our meeting. I did hear of that approximately 6 trees had been removed from an area closer to the street. Clay went by today and checked the area and took some photos. I also spoke with the planning department because South Street is a scenic way, and tree or vegetation removal within 35 feet is prohibited. So I told them that I would follow up with them once we had a determination of what had actually occurred. So that's where we are. As I said, Clay has pictures. I sent him pictures and Clay took some today. And of course, Mr. Ball can explain what their project is.
Okay, Mr. Ball, you got the floor. You got the
Okay.
computer screen.
Sure. Regarding the trees that are marked, yes, the intent would be to go down the path of we've marked them in the sense of they are, as we would personally identify them, dead or hazardous. So we're bidding them out now to see what a price to be removal, and as well as we've reached out to 2 certified arborists, waiting for one of them to get back to me to assess, and then the plan would be to come to conservation to do a mitigation replacement and any kind of restoration type proposal before you. I've actually never met my neighbor next door, so he has no idea of my intent. So that's first.
You might want to send him cookies.
Yeah, he's not on my Christmas list. Regarding the side of the house where the kind of level of the dirt, totally guilt by ignorance. Would have never crossed my mind that was a no-no. So I'll raise my hand and say absolutely that was my fault.
So were there any trees removed yet?
There was 4 trees that have fallen since I've been there in the 2 years I've been there. Backyard, and then 1 in the woods that's still visible in there because I can't access it. There's been other dead trees removed and a couple removed by the town for growing through the power lines.
I think Eversource removed those.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. They were, yeah. And you understand that you're on a scenic road?
Yes,
You
I do.
understand that
So
part
of the kind of mitigation restoration would have been there's going to be, so I guess driving down South Street right in front of my house from the pavement, there's a 3-foot slope that kind of immediately goes down when I ride my lawnmower. It's sideways. I'm hanging off sideways. To do that would be to propose some additional grading in there, as well as a setback of I think we were counting 30 to 35 emerald greens and kind of a raised mulch bed to not only provide shade but a little bit of noise deterrence and privacy.
So I assume the road is not within our jurisdiction. That falls under the planning board for scenic roads?
Correct. It's also under zoning because it's a conservation district. So there's kind of a twofold thing going on. But all the trees in that location are probably within the 25-foot buffer zone.
Yeah,
to the wetlands.
Oh, all right. They're that close.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are. And as far as the tree removal by the street, I don't know if Mr. Ball is saying, so those trees weren't removed recently?
Some of them prior to my ownership, some of them during my ownership, yes.
Like within the last few days?
No, there was, I don't know what that gentleman is next door neighbor is talking about. I have not removed a tree. I'm still getting those priced out to be removed.
Okay.
So Clay, you took some pictures. You want to bring up the pictures? Peter, you have a new scene behind you.
Yep, I'll pull up
Nice point.
kind of combination of what Deb and I took.
My outfit in your scene, Peter.
So when did the grading happen?
This was probably more recently, within the last 2 months. And it's literally just me kind of relocating some dirt because I was hoping to extend I have like a mulch bed that kind of raises up to the house.
You with a shovel?
No, one of my friends actually let me borrow his Bobcat for a couple days.
A little guy, a little bobcat.
Yeah.
So what this photo is showing what?
So these are, if this is from the street looking towards the right side of, I guess, the open area of the grass, just to the right of these, maybe 8 feet to the right is where the actual physical wetland, I guess, river, even though it's dried, is located.
So that's kind of the line of trees that were marked for removal.
Yes.
Along that area. So that's what that tree, that picture is representing.
And then the ones in the back left are right next to my septic tank and right next to the house. So a little worried between the squirrels that we've experienced in the attic as well as growing into the septic tank.
So you understand that you need to file a notice of intent with us.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you'll need a certified arborist to kind of explain the health of these trees and some justification for removing them. And that for every one tree that comes down, 2 trees need to be planted in its place. That's our tree policy.
Sure. Can I ask a little clarification on that last part? Are they planted in the exact same spot or in a relatively proximate space within the same buffer zone?
Within the same buffer zone.
Okay.
What else is that part of that, Deb, as far as, because you're not planning on any building addition or anything. This is purely tree removal and maybe regrading of your, oh, I know that house. Isn't there like a pond or something in the front?
No, just my septic tank. So that stump on the left was one from previous ownership. And then that mulch bed was a tree that fell left over my driveway. And then you can barely see, but there's the electric wires and cable wires just run along there. And then one of the front trees grows into it and shakes it. So my power lines shake.
This tree?
Yes. Oh, this is a telephone pole, but you can see the tree limb kind of between, covering the house.
So as far as where the grading's happening, do we want erosion controls at the bottom or?
Is it within?
It's within the 25 foot, probably.
Yeah, I would probably say we're pretty close.
Yeah, we definitely want erosion controls, and we don't want you to do any more bobcatting out there.
No problem, it's gone already.
Oh boy, bobcatter.
Yeah, so that needs to be stabilized with vegetation or whatever they're planning.
Could I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Yep.
That the dirt with the rocks, did you get that from another part of the site or is that fill? Because it's a completely different material than what it looks like. It doesn't look like topsoil, it's all subsoil.
So along the driveway, actually on the left side, there was this, I don't know, I would call it a dead bed of that, where we kind of cleared out some extra humps that were left after clearing out just more deadness. So yes, it's from a different part, I guess, of the property would be.
Because you're going to have to loam that if you want to plant anything in it.
That was going to be my next step.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So you want to put some erosion controls down at the base of it. And so we want him to stabilize it and vegetate it, but if he's going to vegetate it, he needs to bring in loam. So is that acceptable at this stage, or does that have to follow along with the whole notice of intent? Because otherwise, how is he going to get it stabilized?
Well, I mean, he should be able to get a notice of intent in relatively quickly, I would think.
But he needs a plan that shows his whole property and the wetlands. Does it only need the wetlands delineated, and show all of the trees that he wants to remove, and then show a new planting plan with all the trees that he wants to, that he's going to plant.
Mm-hmm.
have an arborist come along.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen in a month. It has a lot of steps.
Correct.
Mhm.
Janet and Deb, is it worthwhile to maybe have some hay mulch spread on all that exposed soil?
Yeah, they need some kind of temporary stabilization. I agree.
So we can, that can be, because we have an enforcement order now. Did you write up an enforcement order?
I haven't done that yet. I didn't know.
So, well, I guess that's our question, like what's our plan of attack moving forward? Do we want to, if we issue an enforcement order requiring him to file a notice of intent and
Sure.
stabilizing, that the most logical pattern to go down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes sense to you, Mr. Ball?
Sure, absolutely.
And then we can require that the loose soil has erosion controls at the base, and that the top is, do we want to say mulch? Do we want to say stabilized? Do we want to say he can do it how he wants? What do we want to say?
I would say stabilized with mulch until I don't know how soon he's going to get the topsoil. So you want that to be part of the notice of intent, the topsoil?
Well, if he's going to do any more grading, you going to do any more grading over there?
No, the next step was just a topsoil was my intent, but
I mean, I guess I kind of think you might as well just bring in the topsoil, stabilize it with vegetation.
okay.
But I don't know, but I mean, I want the commission to
Sure.
have their opinion. If it makes more sense to have them put mulch down on top of it, that's a faster way to stabilize. We definitely need the erosion controls at the base immediately,
Right.
before the fall comes and the rains start and all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And now you totally understand that your neighbors are keeping a close eye on you, so you won't be cutting any trees down.
2 letters. Yeah.
All right.
Well, from their
You
point
have
of view,
anything-
you have to know that they had to get a permit to do the work that they had done. So of course you come along and start doing work and don't have a permit. So
Yeah, you'll be calling on the other neighbor any day now. Peter, you have something to add?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say in terms of trees that, I mean, if all those trees are within the 25-foot zone, it's going to be very difficult to give you permission to take any of them down. I mean, anything within the 50, that's still a viable wooded area. So there's no expansion of lawn that's going to happen in this case. So I just didn't want the applicant to get his hopes up in terms of what might happen down the line.
I totally understand. Yeah, I was wondering, Clay, do you have any upshots of the trees? A couple of them have actually been so engrossed in vines that they've snapped in half and the top is hanging down from the top of them.
Yeah, so you'll have an arborist actually.
Yeah, the intent
Photos
is just
and explaining.
correct.
and we like something called snags.
But,
So any trees that you can leave like a 10 to 15 foot section instead of taking the whole tree down if it's dead or unhealthy is wildlife habitat. So we're going to have you look at that as well
okay.
Before approving the tree removal.
Deb, remind me to tell you about a snag I saw recently.
I can't wait.
This is the photos of the trees with the vines.
No, this isn't any. This is on the other side of the stream. They're the ones that are actually closest to the river from, I guess, this side of the yard.
Are you against the Charles River, or are you against?
I'm across the street from the houses that their backyards border, but it's the very far runoff of the end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 25 foot is kind of pretty sacred to us. So to remove anything within that 25 foot is, you really need a
And they
clear
really
explanation.
are usually need to be close to a house or a structure or something that's really, a hazard.
We
But
like, we
Is the
like
septic,
dead trees.
is the septic tank and the house, they're within, they probably border pretty close to that 25 foot.
I was gonna, excuse me, Janet. I was gonna say, can you put on your plan the boundaries of not only a tank, but your leaching system? I assume that system, that area was raised because of your septic?
No, the house is up and then the area, the septic is below the grade at that level.
And the trees that you are interested in taking down, what's the distance between that and your leaching system?
I would say that there's 3 or 4 of them that are within 5 to 8 feet of the clean out. I'm not necessarily sure exactly where the leaching system is. I just know where the clean out.
I think it would be helpful if you delineate where that is, and you might have to do a little research with the Board of Health or talk to your pumper, your septic tank pumper. Just it might be helpful to know exactly where all those components are in relation to the trees you want to take down. It might be something we have to look at because that could compromise.
When they bought the house, Bill, would they have had to be given a plan that showed their septic system?
It would have been how long have you owned the house?
2 years.
Yeah, you would have had a Title V inspection.
I did have that, but they didn't.
They didn't.
No.
So they didn't. Part of that report, it has to be a sketch. That report would have had to file with the Board of Health within 30 days. So if you don't have one, why don't you call the Board of Health? They probably have a copy of it.
Okay.
What year is the house, can I ask?
I think it's 1981, 82, I think.
So Devin,
Yeah.
shouldn't we have a plan for that? For the builder that built this house originally?
I have to look and see if we have anything on it. I know that we had next door, but
I'm amazed that in 1981, they put a Title V system that close to the wetlands.
That's why I'm asking. There must be a plan that somebody approved or maybe not, and that's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Oh, goodness.
You really wanted a new septic system.
Oh.
Allison, you have something
Wasn't
to say?
that Mr. Zabar? I remember the guy that, when Title V first came in, I think his name was Mr. Zabar.
Sue, do you have any comments or questions or anything to add?
No, I'm good.
Peter, anything more for you to add? Allison?
No, just make sure, the trees you want to take down are really dead, because some of them looked alive to me. I don't know. That's just from the photographs.
Allison is going to be very critical of your tree choices going in, so keep that in mind.
They just
Choose
that's all.
wisely. Bill, you have anything else to add?
I was just going to ask, is there any invasives in that area? Anything that I want to look at? Other mitigation?
Invasives?
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little naive.
yeah, it was just a violation stop by, so I didn't take a good look. But when they file and we go out, we'll definitely look. Looks like there might be some bittersweet in the trees just from the pictures, but we'll take a look.
Thanks.
Steve, you have anything more to add?
Just one other thing, and this is probably obvious. I'm assuming that Deb will be notified when this fill is brought in and when the erosion control is being placed so that it's done correctly. Is that correct, Deb?
That is correct, Steve.
Awesome.
Yep.
So as part of our enforcement order saying that you'll stabilize the loose gravel and prepare a notice of intent, how are you working with anybody right now? Any surveyors, engineers, anybody at the moment?
I had my lot surveyed within the last 6 months because I put a fence on the other far left side of the property.
Oh, good. So now you need the wetland delineated so you can really say where that is. So that may take a little bit of time, but at least you already have a base drawing, and you're in a list of a surveyor, because that's always a little bit tricky. Because how long before we expect he can complete this? I think it could be 3 months before he can get to a hearing.
That's probably more of the reasonable timeline, especially if I'm planting. I would want to be planting more towards a cooler season, not in a direct.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to take you a while to go through, get it delineated, get it surveyed, get a plan drawn up, get an arborist. You have a lot of steps, and so the planting will probably be happening in the spring. Maybe. So where are we? We're in July, August, September, October. What's the time frame? Because we want to say either you will submit something to us. I guess we want a notice of intent anyway, whether he decides to not take any trees down. For the
Well, yeah.
So, okay. So what's the dates in October for him to have filed something?
Okay, so if we wanted him to file in October, then it would be due by October 8th for the October 22nd meeting, or September 24th for the October 8th meeting.
I think October, the October filing in October, I think it's going to take him some time to get all of his ducks in a row. So I think 3 months, a solid 3 months. So file
I
in
think
first
that if
October.
they could get, if he has the arborist come out prior to that and can get a report to us, looking at the trees while they still have leaves and everything, I think would be good for us instead of going out there in November, or, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So if he does get an arborist in before that and we could get that report before that, that would definitely be helpful. But then still have the notice of intent due by October.
Okay, so what was that date again, to have it submitted by October? Oh wait, Allison has a comment.
To
Okay.
follow up on what you said, Deb, that when the arborist does a report, he needs to locate the trees in the plan and say what they are and the size, et cetera.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It
can't just be a list of
right.
trees. Yeah.
I know. So October 8th for October 22nd.
October 8th, so the enforcement order will say that we expect you to have a notice of intent submitted to our office by October 8th, 2020. And because if it's not, and you haven't reached out to us in any way, we will start fining you as of that. So you should know that.
Understood.
Allison, you have anything to add? Peter, you have anything to add? Steve, Bill, Sue?
No.
Deb, do I need to include anything else?
No, I'll put on the enforcement order about stabilizing the slope, putting the erosion control in immediately. What do you prefer for erosion controls?
I like the compost sock or the silt sock better than the straw wattle.
Any size preference?
Is it a very steep slope?
Relatively.
Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
It's a steep slope, 12 inches.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Ball, if you can work on getting a 12-inch compost sock at the bottom of that slope. And I will get in touch with you the beginning of the week and set up a site visit. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
All right, great. Thank you very much for coming in and being on our Zoom call.
Thank you.
All right, we have meeting minutes to discuss. Clay circulated some meeting minutes Okay, meeting minutes, and then remind me about the site visit we went on. Okay, so April 30th. What did I just do?
For the April 30th minutes, I did receive one correction from Sue under other business. We corrected it from, it had said Charles River Street, 1016 Charles River Street. It is actually 1016 Charles Street. So we omitted the river from there.
Good catch, Sue.
Well, there's quite a difference in the
There's a big difference in the thing. Two roads. Who was here? I was here. Sue was here. Peter was here. Bill was here. Allison was here. Oh, we were lots of us here. Any other comments or questions regarding the April 30th, 2020 meeting minutes? And if not, I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the April 30 minutes.
Second.
Second.
All in favor. Peter.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
Sue.
Aye.
Allison.
Aye.
Steve, it doesn't look like you were here, so you can abstain. Okay. Did we do it right? We passed. We did. We approved. So the meeting minutes from April 30th are passed, are approved. Okay. So now we have meeting minutes. Really, I don't know if anybody else is doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to have the screen up and the meeting minutes on the side all at the same time, and it's not easy.
I abstained from 514. I wasn't there.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Sue.
the meeting minutes for May 14th, 2020. Janet, Artie, Will, Bill, Peter, Allison. Okay. So does anybody have any comments or corrections for these meeting minutes?
There was one correction that I had. We corrected the motions under 78 Brookside Road, the last item on there. We corrected it to say that the motion to issue the minor modification was made by Artie Crocker, seconded by Allison Richardson.
Because Sue wasn't actually there.
Correct.
Right.
God, somebody's paying attention.
I don't think I was there.
Okay, any other comments or changes on these meeting minutes? And if not, I will take a motion to approve by somebody that was in attendance. Bill, Peter, Allison.
I move to approve the meeting minutes of 5/14, 2020.
Second.
Okay, all in favor. Peter,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Janet, aye. I assume that Sue and Steve are abstaining?
Yep.
Okay. All
I
right, so
abstain.
meeting minutes for May 14th have been approved. Great. I annotated my agenda again. Okay, so it's the last thing to talk about our site visit? We did everything else, right? So last week, right? I feel like, how can I did lots of things with you last week. Last week, Deb and I went and met with Piersack. Bill Piersack?
Yep.
Bill Piersack. On his property off of Chestnut Street. The planning board asked us to attend a site visit because he is submitting an application to the planning board that is a special permit for a, I want to say commune, that's the wrong word.
Family compound.
Family compound.
He's
and-
subdividing and
and
adding
subdividing
an
part of the
additional roadway.
land. You have to have over 10 acres and he has 14 acres and then he's joining with a friend and So the planning board asked if we wanted this conservation restriction, and we said yes. And is that a clap or are you getting a bug?
Sorry, mosquito was flying in my face.
It's like, Allison's clapping around.
Excuse me.
The property's on the Charles River.
It's right on the Charles River, and the planning board was thinking that they wanted a landing of some sort, so somebody in a kayak or canoe could land and have a picnic. So we all walked around and we looked, and it really was not conducive to a kayak landing on Mr. Piercock's property. Restriction or no, we walked all around. There easily is a vernal pool on his property, and eventually they will come in front of us for some of the construction of these houses. But in the meantime, their conservation restriction that they showed us at the site walk was basically just following the edge of the wetlands, which are kind of jiggery-jaggery all around. So we suggested that they even it off. And I would have liked to see the whole riverfront area in that conservation restriction, but I don't know that we're going to get that. I don't even know if we're going to get it evened up, because it's really under the planning board's call, isn't it, Deb? It's the planning board gets to decide. We just get to keep this conservation restriction.
So this conservation restriction, it's kind of two, this is basically for the roadway, what's going through planning right now. So there's one part of a subdivision closer to Chestnut Street, and then this other one at the end of the cul-de-sac where his house is right now. So the roadway in the first part is by right, which gives the planning board less leeway to ask for things, such as conservation restrictions. While this other part that they're going to be adding a cul-de-sac onto the existing roadway, they have more leeway in asking for things like conservation restrictions. And since it's along the Charles River, the planning board thought it was a good opportunity for conservation to ask for a conservation restriction around there, potentially a trail if it was going to connect with other trails. So that was the intent, is they wanted to bring it to our attention as something, you know, that we might want to request, which we did. And they are willing to do the conservation restriction, as Janet mentioned, following along the bordering vegetated wetland. But we want to try to get some upland as well. So we're hoping to at least square off that conservation restriction, so it does include some of the 200-foot riverfront area. And we're also going to ask for conservation restriction on the other parcels that are by right, since we're not going to be pursuing a trail or a canoe launch or landing area. Sorry, everyone's having a late dinner in the kitchen next to me. So that's why we had the site meeting, just to get a lay of the land so everyone is on the same page. So I am putting together additional comments for the planning board stating what we would like to do.
So that was one of our site visits. So that's just kind of informational. We had another site visit. What was the other one?
I didn't go on that one. You and Clay did Robinwood.
Oh, Clay and I went. Oh yeah. So that was Robinwood, and Robinwood is like one of the roads that makes my heart race, because one of the properties filled in an entire wetland probably 15 years ago, one of my first years on the commission. And it seems like it's just, the whole road has just been a mess ever since. But we've asked everybody along the way, because people come every year, somebody else in Robinwood comes along and they build a gigantic house. And we've been having them put in infiltration chambers or something. Recently, somebody put in a rain garden. They didn't seem to have any problem, that house. But one of the houses that's been there for 9 years, I think he said. I think he's been living there for 9 years. And the other people had moved in 6 years ago, but they had an old house, and on either side of him was older houses. His house, and he was the one calling. He was a very educated, thoughtful guy, homeowner, and his backyard was like 3 feet higher than the neighbors' backyards. It was just like, no wonder that your neighbors have wetlands. As his house, it's been there for 9 years. It's way raised up. And he had 2 little teeny dry wells that were like the size of my computer screen, taking all the roof runoff. So he had a little plan, and he'd been working with an engineering company, and in reality, you could see why this was a problem. There was no way out for this wetland system. It was all like isolated. It didn't seem you couldn't get to the town forest is right behind him, but you can't get there from there. And I think it's because the house 15 years ago filled it in, but anyway. So he said he was going to look into connecting his 2 dry wells across his back property, meaning he basically is going to dig a trench up his whole property and then dig it up to the street if the DPW allows him to. I said if he came in front of the commission with this request and the DPW has agreed to it, that even though it's not something that we typically like to do, I would be in favor of it, just because you could just see that everybody would, he said at one point, he had canoes floating around his backyard. And if his house was high, the neighbors were like 4 feet of water. So it would go up into his bulkhead. And so anyway, I'm like, all right. So I understood the problem. It was not a great solution, but they might be coming to us. And then there's another property owner that I think has a house somewhere in Needham. Deb will tell me again where it is, on George Abbott Road, I think. And he was supposed to install a dry well for his roof runoff and didn't, and wants to connect to the town. And so we keep telling him that he has to. And he keeps saying, I want to dig a hole and not. And so he's dug a hole in his backyard all by himself with a shovel to show that he has hydric soil in the lowest point of his backyard. And he now has a hole in his backyard. He could just install a dry well at this stage. You could just put it right in there. But so we keep saying he needs to either be told by a soil evaluator or a professional engineer that it is impossible for him to install some type of an infiltration system to manage his roof runoff. He doesn't like us very much, I don't think. But we've been very busy with all these calls. So, anything else? Did we talk about anything else?
And those are just the sane people, Janet.
I know. Thank you for not including me in the crazy ones.
People.
Anybody have anything else to add to our fun conversation? So the next hearing is 8:13. Oh yeah.
I have one thing. I just wanted to thank Allison. She came up with a lovely plan for the access area to the Rosemary Lake. So I'm passing that on to engineering. And thank you for putting that together, Allison.
That's great.
I'll forward it along to everyone.
That's on my walk now too. I've been checking out that little landing. Why is it still coned off though? I don't understand. You're on mute again, Allison.
It's so beyond me. I know.
There's no handrail for those stairs. It's not legal, actually.
It's handrail. There's a handrail.
Oh, there is now? Okay, good.
When did they put it in? Last week?
I just saw it. I walked there yesterday and it was there. Okay. So I don't know when, but.
The other thing is that the grading was very challenging, and they have these little wood boards and kind of like, iron. Yeah, and they have like a real jury rig retaining thing that's going to last about, the winter. That's it. It's all going to fall down.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for making that. Hopefully it's going to make it
just
beautiful.
Planting it. They didn't have much money, but it's wetland shrubs and herbaceous, native herbaceous perennials along the there's sort of shrubs behind the memorial, clethra, some are sweet,
Yeah.
and then a winterberry, and then some to the side, to the left.
Sweet fern.
And then sweet fern right at the top of the
I
stair,
love
and
sweet
then
fern.
perennials down the stair, and then along the back of the path.
Yeah, I'll share it with everyone. It's really nice. Thank
And
you.
I'm leaving the seed that they did. I'm just leaving it alone. I don't have enough money to put in to redo the whole bank. So, it doesn't need trees. There's a lot of trees there.
Yeah, it's a good trees there.
Yeah.
Good. Family time.
I'm like, shut up! I'm in a meeting. But I just got a hug, so we'll have to be nice.
Oh.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
All right, I think we're good. We can have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
But second, thank you. All right, I'm not going through everybody. We're all here. We all are nodding happily to say that we can leave. Thank you very much. Have a lovely 3 weeks.
Thank you.
All right, I'll let you know when the COC is there to sign.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm not here next week. I'm in Rhode Island.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you have enough. 1, 2, 3. Steve, where are you?
No, I'm in Needham right now, but I'm leaving tomorrow night for New York, so I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
And Artie's gone. So Sue, Peter, Janet, and Allison? No. Yes?
Allison,
No.
well, if you can get it for us, when can you get it here? Tomorrow?
I can sign it tomorrow. That's it.
I can sign it tomorrow too if you have the signature page ready.
Can Clay get
I'll
it
let
over
you
here?
know.
Otherwise, it'll have to be the next week.
Which we have time. We don't have to
We have
rush
time.
things.
Yeah, we have time.
But I'll let you know. I don't know
Okay.
if I'm going to need them tomorrow, but we'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
Deb, where do you
Okay.
live?
In Norwood.
Far, far, far away.
Hey, I was there yesterday.
I'm going to Boston every
We
Are
only
you
work till
going into
noon on
Boston?
Fridays.
I went in today. I went to work. It was awesome. I had huge plots that I had to plot instead of dealing with Makepeace in Norwood. But it was wonderful, actually. There was no one. I was all alone. It was great. I got so much work done. I wish
It's my vacation destination.
Boston
Oh, yeah.
or Needham?
Totally.
Oh, God. that's
Needham.
fun. Yeah,
Needham, the
getting out of the
office.
house. Yeah.
I was there till almost 10 last night.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.